Okay, my name's Ryan. I'll be telling you a little bit about cacao. Here we have Cacao Nacional. This is for making the best chocolate. This is what we have in Ecuador for the best chocolate. And this cacao is almost ready. It's going to be ready when it's like a bright yellow, and then we can remove it from the tree, harvest it, and this is an example of what the inside of a Cacao Nacional looks like. And you can see the pulp around the outside of the bean. This would be what the inside of the bean looks like. It's kind of a deep purple. It's real gooey. And you can generally, if you eat it in a raw state, you can just suck off the pulp right here and then spit out the seed. But this pulp on the outside, through the process of fermentation, which we'll see in a little bit, the pulp is going to slowly change to this shell that you see right here on the outside. And then from there, through the process of fermentation, 6 or 7 days we can dry it. In this climate it takes about 1 to 2 weeks to dry. After that we can roast the cacao, and then we can separate the shell after it's been roasted, and we have the nibs. And the nibs are what we use to make the chocolate. So the nibs it's basically the base of chocolate, and we'll use that to make the chocolate liquor. Okay, so the cacao arrives right out there to our premises, and it arrives in 75 or 100 pound bags. We'll go ahead and we'll take it up the stairs on the back side. We'll drop it into this top box where we start the fermentation process for 2 days. And then after 2 days, we'll drop it down to this middle box, and it continues to ferment for 2 more days. After that, we'll drop it down to this bottom box to complete the fermentation process for an additional 2 days. So usually have a total of 6 days, occasionally 7, of fermentation. You can see the beans here, how the white pulp on the outside is changing to that shell right here. Let me get a couple for examples. You can cut some open and see how they look. So this may be another day or 2 of fermenting. So these ones I got from the top, which were previously on the bottom of the box above. So these still need to ferment a bit longer. So over the next day or 2, they're really going to start to change. And these ones, which are drying, we took out a few days ago. So you can see they take on more of a kind of a cafe color. In this case, these ones are a bit darker. That one's a bit lighter. That one. So here it's going to take, in this climate right now, it's taking about 1 to 2 weeks to dry. In less ideal climate conditions, when it's cooler, when it's more humid, it can take maybe over a month or so. And down by the coast, it dries a bit quicker. The large companies have their own drying machines. They'll dry them in just a few hours. And yeah, but here it's been taking about a week or 2. So this machine is where we roast the cacao. We'll take about 125 pounds of cacao and roast it for about 2 hours at a medium heat of about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. It's gas heated, and it rotates with an electric motor right here. And then when it comes out, it's going to look like, you're going to have the roasted cacao beans, as you see here. And then from there, on the inside, this is kind of what it looks like. It's the broken parts of the cacao bean separated from the shell. But to separate it, what we'll do is we'll bring it to this machine right here, and we have the freshly roasted cacao. And we'll turn this machine on. As you can see, the cacao beans are funneled through here, and then as they pop out, they are lightly crushed. Then we can bring them over to this screen, put them on top, and as I turn on the fan, as the particles fall through the screen, the lighter ones will blow to the outside. As you can see the shells right over there as they blow out. And most of the heavier, the denser particles, the nibs, are going to fall down in this area. We can separate these into a few different sections, run them through 2 or 3 times just to make sure everything is clean. So this is how it works. And then from there we have the nibs and the shells over there. And after that, we collect the nibs and then we're ready to make chocolate. Okay, so that machine you see there on your right covered in chocolate, we'll put the nibs into that funnel at the top, and after they get passed through the first time, it comes out kind of like a very wet dirt. We'll pass it through 2 more times, and then it's a very kind of a very liquidy chocolate. So it's basically the liquefied nibs. That's going to be the end result of there. Once we have it passed through that machine 3 times, we can move over to the left right here, and we have the conchers. These conch refine the chocolate for 3 days, and they rotate. There's stone wheels, and they're rotating on a stone plate. There's also an arm in there that pushes the chocolate around, mixes it, refines it. This is also where we'll add the sugar and the cocoa butter, and this refines the chocolate to make into chocolate bars. And those are 20-ton hydraulic presses. Those, we can insert the liquefied nibs into those cylinders, and by applying a little bit more pressure at a time, the fat will begin, the cocoa butter begins to leave out of the bottom, out of the filter. And what we're left with is going to be a dense cylinder of cocoa powder. Once we retract the press, and that's right there, right inside. So we can take that to the next room, chop it up, put it in a blender, sift it, and then it's ready to be packaged and sold.